players in general started to fall off, and there were only like a few left in, like Daze being one of them, Simple being one of them, Bugsy on like a game 5 situation, or when he's about to get knocked out, swapping over to the Thor. But I just wasn't feeling Thor too much anymore, and that included Simple. Now he's coming in with this Taros, and I think Simple can sometimes, I don't want to say he's gimmicky, because people are going to take that the wrong way and think I'm dogging on Simple. It's like Simple will take like one thing and abuse it and exploit it. I think Taros is a character that you can do that. Now, like the Taros brain in ranked will be like, "Ooh, I'm going to abuse the gravity cancel neutral signature on Axe." Like, no, Simple is going to abuse high strength, how strong Hammer is, how strong Axe is, how strong Taros, some of Taros signatures can be. That's what I think he's going to exploit on this character, and why this character is possibly very successful for him if he continues to play it.
Yeah, but there are some interesting things to point out about Simple on this Taros. First of all, he's not really like abusing his opponents really with this Taros. He's had some pretty nail biter finishes. Of course, his placement into this top 8 was a down to the wire finishing match, and not only that, he's not going in with the deck stance. This is very odd. He plays the Bodvar. He's basically a hammer main at this point, and he's not going in with the deck stance, which most Taroses, if they want to lean towards that hammer, they want that 4 decks over the 3.
And I'm glad you mentioned the nail biter sets that he had earlier, because that was to like get into top 8. Now, even though he is on the winner's side here, and that's fantastic, whenever you have those nail biter sets before you even get into top 8, that's usually not the best sign for how you will fare in top 8. But still, he has the lead here against Zyder. Talking about Simple so much, but holy cow, Zyder finding himself on the top side of top 8 here with this Thor pick. Might be changing my mind about Thor this tournament. Zyder with a breakout performance here. He's had them in the past, but this is huge for him.
Yeah, he's definitely placed top 8 before, but a top 8 winner side is definitely very big for Zyder. There's a fantastic start to the top 8 for Zyder, but of course, he is now running into Simple, a very powerhouse player, dominant in the European region. He's gonna have to get through him with this Thor pick. He does get the sidelight Zyder, goes for the neutral sig read, but Simple below it.
And of course, if you're gonna mention breakout performances, like you can't ignore that this is also a mid-season championship. Like, yeah, of course, it might feel like any other tournament. If you're a viewer, it might feel like any other tournament because it's an online tournament in 2020 with the same rules. You're seeing kind of the same faces every month. But still, for players, this is so different. This tournament is so much bigger than every other tournament we've had this year. The only tournament bigger than this is the World Championship, which won't be for a long time. Zyder not cracking under the pressure as he gets that knockout, takes the lead here, continues with this strong performance this weekend.
Yeah, this pressure is just helping Zyder at this point. He has just been able to progress so incredibly well. You're seeing actually off that launch where he gets the sidelight side air, Simple likes to react with like a jump, with like a dodge up, and Zyder has been able to pick that out. Nice stomp into the scoop up from Simple. Will clean up that stock, but this is still very slightly in Zyder's favor.
And going back to Simple, you know, he does tend to kind of slow things down from time to time. He's a player who can succeed playing very slowly, which is like blue Simple sets. Those, from a viewing experience, those can be kind of brutal to watch. And I think on this Taros pick, that can serve him well because he's not having to find these huge strings. He can just get one hit, wait some time, get another hit, wait some time, hit a D-Sig on Axe, wait some time, and he's gonna be putting out damage.
Yeah, I mean, trades can very easily go in favor of the Taros. On the other side,
don't N-Sig. Don't do it.
Yeah, he's not that Taros brain, all right? Like, he might be playing the Taros this tournament, but I don't think he's done too many of those N-Sigs over the corner.
I don't think I mean, he hasn't done a single signature in this set.
Not yet.
Not even the Axe D-Sig.
I know he'll go for the neutral sig read just like that, but it's very like, he keeps it in the pocket. He does not want to throw those out too much. He knows how easy it is to go Taros brain and start throwing out that neutral signature every opportunity you get because of that reversal. But I like that he keeps it secret. He's like, I'm going to wait for the opportunity to do that one.
Thinking about maybe just taking a break in between the games. Game 1 went his favor. Is he thinking about switching on the W? The rare switch on win?
I don't know if Simple's the type of person to switch on. He hasn't even switched really at all for this entire tournament. Like, he's been on this Taros. I think he's just waiting and thinking about like, okay, I know I won that one, but I could win this one better. Of course, talking about stats just a little bit, Zyder coming in, actually going to even out in terms of strength to defense. So Simple is going to be doing just kind of like the baseline damage onto Zyder because they have equivalent strength and defense. But the thing that's going to work a little bit in Simple's favor is he has slightly more defense than Zyder has attack.
So going into this, just normal stance for Simple's Taros. Whenever we see Taros in tournament, do we see just default stance? I feel like we don't.
Sometimes, I mean, it's rare. Usually, like I said, you gotta go into like for Thor, you go into defense. For Taros, you go into dex. But you know, sometimes default, if you're like still picking up the character, maybe you're level 2 on it and don't have the stats unlocked.
Went for the early neutral sig read there, right on that corner. That would have put Zyder in a rough position. Wouldn't have led to the knockout because he's only yellow. Zyder with a damage lead here. That neutral air putting Zyder further into the yellow, but Simple's in the orange. 1 or 2 more hits and Simple's going to be red. Stomping just over the edge. Goes for the side signature. A little bit of a gambit there. Stomp side air, though, for the knockout move. Zyder with a huge lead.
Yeah, this is really nice for Zyder, and he's going to be sticking with this orb, able to get a lot of damage if he can get the right reads. But you're seeing Simple start to shove him away. Wants to get a weapon pickup. Generally speaking, Taros is not the best with the unarmed. Of course, he's going to get a couple of hits here and there, but not too much after that.
That side air in orange, sending Zyder all the way to the right side of the stage. That ground pound hitting from the top, so it's going to send Zyder up. The ground pound, man, Zyder really went for the gravity cancel D light there. The neutral light, almost the knockout move. If Simple can find the state that he needs here, if he can find the knockout move, and it's the unarmed ground pound, following up shortly after the weapon toss for the KO. Not too far behind, maybe about 50 damage at this point. In comes the orb for Zyder. He's able to grab it right out of the air. Doesn't spend any time disarmed whatsoever.
I love the way Simple played that edge guard. You saw him thinking about backing away. He just kind of threw the weapon tosses like, all right, I'm going to go back, but here, you can have this on my way out. And then he saw it hit, and that's when he immediately moved over and was like, all right, maybe I can finish off the stock here. Really intelligently played by Simple. Not able to find a connection on this axe, though. He really likes to reach for that axe sidelight, and the way that Zyder's positioning on top of him is making it difficult for Simple to find that hit.
But on the other side, Zyder is, oh man,
yeah.
that's going to be the knockout. Wow, that's an early stock take. But Zyder keeps throwing out these side signatures on the hammer over the edge, and I'm really not a fan of that because Simple, you're not seeing him like playing right high on that corner to where his hurt box is going to peek over, and Zyder can maybe snatch him up with that. Zyder's done it twice now, and he's been punished once and was close to punish the other time, and I'm just not feeling it. It doesn't seem like the position where Simple is going to fall into it or jump into it, anything like that. Man, what an edge guard situation that Simple just turns around there. Zyder overextends a little bit too low, kind of started that in orange and ended it dead.
Really well played from Simple with the hammer edge guard. Just a classic hammer edge guard on that one. Zyder back over to the orb, getting the big damage. Throws out the side six. Simple barely dodges underneath it. And Simple's going to hold on for only a moment. He's starting to bleed out.
Went for the down air. Simple stayed close to the wall. Side air from Simple. He's definitely not out of this. Oh, Zyder, don't extend over to the edge. You saw what happened last time. This time, Simple doesn't have a hammer in his hand. He didn't even have the weapon advantage, period. Oh, it's just a stomp fest. Goes for the stomp, like fast fall side light. Wonder if that was a... Oh, Simple, no! Not like this, and he's gonna fall, and Zyder's gonna tie up the set 1-1. Small Brawl banned out by Simple, leaving Small Mammoth, Small Great Hall, and Apocalypse. Oh, redoing
I think he wanted the triplats. You saw him click it. I think he's going to go Small Great Hall. Yeah, okay. Zyder going to pick Small Great Hall for game number 3. An interesting pick. I don't think there's a whole lot that Undertaker gets out of Small Great Hall besides just like he can use the platforms to be higher. And I guess Simple doesn't have as many vertical knockout options with like hammer scoop up or like an axe recovery on a jump read.
That's what I'm thinking, though, is the D-Sig on the hammer kind of covering that soft platform as well. You can cover, like, half of it is above, half of it is below that soft platform. But other than that, I think this map kind of benefits both parties equally.
It's definitely,
at least in terms of character pick.
Yeah, it's definitely a map where like it can throw a person off because a lot of like, especially North Americans, right? We talked about this. North Americans really like maps without soft platforms. You know, they like very flat, small walled maps. And so going to one that maybe your opponent isn't quite as used to, they might get caught up on those platforms and start getting a little bit frustrated with it.
Zyder sticking on the ground.
The delay.
Kind of a slower game here. 45 seconds into this. Zyder in the deep orange. Ooh, big side air. Gonna put Simple in the advantage state. D-like ground pound, backs up to the wall. Didn't want to go for the gravity cancel on the corner. That would have burned his dodge if he didn't time it perfectly. So he retreated back to the wall. Did the safe D-like ground pound right over that corner. Well placed by Simple.
Oh, and barely dodges from Zyder and actually stays low underneath Zyder. Generally, the safer position against a hammer on the edge guard is below them, considering ground pound relatively long startup, and then the down air will just scoop them up. So generally you play below him, but Zyder able to get the unarmed downlight. Zyder goes in the sidelight side air on the orb. Can't quite finish it as Simple can't touch.
Man, that was really close to touching still. It takes kind of a lot of damage to knock out with a sidelight side air. Like, we always talk about like how strong Thor's signature.
Oh what?
God. Never mind. I take it back. I take it back. Holy.
He touched
oh, man, that was close to not making it back, too. What a string.
That was insane. He threw in a Nair Cider as well in that one. Just like, these are orb strings that I'm not used to seeing. Like, he started off with some basics, right? Like, you get the side light, down light, but then he started going completely off book with that one.
Gravity cancel side signature. He is throwing those out and getting punished quite a lot for him. Really, the signature kit in all is not working out for Zyder today.
Yeah, I don't think he's landed too many SIGs. Nice recovery from Simple, just barely tapping Zyder so that he can't land with that ground pound and finish off this stock. Simple needs more here to have a comfortable lead going into the final stocks here in game number 3.
Again, that side sig over the edge. The Nair didn't end up hitting from Simple, but he did find a hit after that. See if he can convert this into a knockout. Has the orb in hand. Needs to get the knockout onto Simple. Interesting. Goes for the soft weapon toss up after the dare.
Yo, it kind of worked, though. It did put Simple into hit stun. Didn't let him just completely move about freely. But you see in Simple starting to find these axe hits onto Zyder, punishing the gravity cancel side light whiff. Simple's going to back up. Side light, neutral air, just getting extra damage. He wants the hammer. Hammer is going to be the knockout tool.
I actually really dug that weapon throw. I thought that was fantastic because he threw it up. It was a soft throw, so it was just a little bit up. It ended up falling down. If it missed, he would have been able to grab it. Like, if he would have thrown it down, if it hits, yeah, that's great. But if it doesn't, then he's disarmed. By throwing it up, that can still put Simple into hit stun like it did. And even if he dodged through it and it was still just floating up there, that's an easy grab for Zyder, so he's not disarmed. I really like that weapon toss. Simple still took the game in the end, putting out 200 more damage than Zyder.
I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on Simple. Of course, he does have that extra bias of the he's playing Taro, so I'm going to give him a little extra credit on that one. But at the same time, he's playing incredibly well with this Taros, getting all that damage build up with the axe, and then he'll go over to the hammer for those clean knockouts. And he also has a clean hammer. And it's not like big old Taros brain, right? He's not relying on like the main Taros staples of like N-Sig on corners or N-Sigs off stage with the axe. Or going over to the hammer and doing a bunch of like stomp N-Sigs to try to shove him off stage, or any like stomp down Sigs to get damage quick. Like, he's just going for solid play with the weapons that Taros have.
We don't see him axe down sigging though. And I like that sig. I think that is a very good sig.
We'll do down air into axe down signature as like a dodge.
Okay, well, he hasn't done it too many times in this set. It's maybe been like one. Zyder, man, taking a long time choosing this legend. I'm not feeling the Thor. I'm 100% not feeling the Thor. I'm not really feeling anyone's Thor anymore. No one is going out there and playing Thor where I'm like, dang, that's good. But
I will say I'm feeling Zyder's orb. I thought he had that one orb string that I was like, all right, yeah, if you can do that.
I felt that one thing on Great Hall, but other than that, not feeling too much of the orb. He's swapping over to the Bodvar. I'm gonna dig this. He has the collector's edition skin for it, so yeah, he spent some time on this. Obviously, solid hammer. We'll see what his sword is able to do against Simple.
Well, He is going to be coming in with the Bodvar, of course, swapping out that orb for the sword like you were talking about. He does get the downlight recovery. Interesting option to go for the ground pound there at the end of that recovery, of course, because there wasn't a lot of damage built up on the Simple, not going to launch very far off that recovery.
Now, the fact that he was able to do that right off the bat after immediately switching to Bodvar, I'm already more enthusiastic about the sword than I am the orb.
But he's going to be going over to the hammer. Gets a nice neutral light stomp, side air. Zyder not able to connect with the weapon toss. Simple with a very high recovery, but he gets back up safely. Throws out the N-Sig, expecting a jump read from Zyder, but Zyder's not even that damaged. That N-Sig would not have done much more than get a little bit of stage control.
Catching Zyder as he jumps above and behind Simple with the jump nair. Stomp side air, sending Zyder all the way off stage, even though he's in orange. Playing a little bit high on that wall. He's got to be careful. I think Simple's a little bit afraid of him. Oh, Zyder, what are you doing, my friend?
That bump was scary, but he does get back up safely. Simple over to the axe, wants to get a little bit more damage on the Zyder. You see how far back Simple is playing. You talked about this earlier with how much he's willing to slow down a set, really pace out his opponents. And that's what it's looking like right now. You see him. He'll poke in and then immediately dash to the other side. Just poke, dash, poke, dash.
I think that's definitely the play against Zyder's sword. Simple may carry that over to the hammer as well. That may just be his game plan totally, but I would definitely agree with that against the sword. The recovery taken out off the top. Zyder has a lot of damage on this stock, though. Gonna have to be careful. Simple coming in unarmed, no weapon spawn just yet. Coming in shortly, hits Zyder the right spawn, comes in left, able to grab the hammer. Just like that's the three things you want to happen. You get a hit, weapon spawn is safe, and it's your heavy knockout weapon, and he's able to take it.
Yeah, basically perfect on the respawn. Did take a little bit of damage there, and Zyder gonna come back in, but this one could easily go either direction, basically even between the two of them.
Zyder kind of controlling a little bit more of the stage. You're seeing Simple moving all the way over, but Zyder's favoring the center of the stage. Even when he's above it, favoring more of the center of the stage. Weapon toss going high right over Simple's head. In comes the hammer spawn. Stomp there, stomp Sair. Finding big damage off of that. Has Simple in the orange already.
He's finding connections onto Simple. Again, stomp Zyder. Simple gets disarmed. Gonna jump over the weapon toss, but again, the high recoveries coming out from Simple. Zyder has every advantage.
This weapon cycling from Zyder is fantastic, keeping Simple weapon starved, and of course with the Bodvar pick, you have consistent kill options on both of your weapons. Now the sword's going to kill a heck of a lot later than the hammer will, but still, it's a consistent knockout that he finds. Huge lead for Zyder here. This swap to Bodvar, huge brain. He's 5 head right now on this Bodvar switch decision.
That's what, some of that head goes into the horns there. It's just extra head space, but Simple over to the axe, needs to get this damage built up, and he's going to go in with the recovery. A relatively slow-moving move. And suddenly another ground pound, and Simple is going to even it up.
See him juggling those weapons, trying to delay the weapon spawn, sticking with the axe. Either he chose that as the weapon he wants, or because Zyder was right there, didn't want to risk throwing his axe up, grabbing the hammer, and getting hit in the meantime. Finding solid damage here. Playing right around that weapon spawn. Zyder's finally able to get over to it.
Damage is basically even, though. Nice down airs coming out from Simple. He likes to kind of set up with a lot of these down air, jump down airs. And then when the opponent starts reacting for that, reacting with the dodge down, that's when he'll throw out the down sig. But Zyder finds the stomp, side air, has the stage control, has the scoop up, has the neutral air, and Zyder gonna take game number 4.
Beautiful play from Zyder there. Throughout the entire game, the way he was switching back and forth between weapons, throwing his weapon, hitting Simple, continuing the string with the new weapon. A great job with that. Weapon tosses weren't his way to just like break raw neutral. And when he was switching to his other weapon, he didn't just grab it and then reset to neutral. When he had the opportunity to throw his weapon, grab a new one, it was like 2 hits on sword, toss the sword, get the hit onto Simple, pick up the hammer, 2 hits on hammer. Big damage coming out from Zyder. His flow between weapons is fantastic. What a beautiful dash into the neutral light.
Complete control coming out from Zyder. Gonna throw away the weapon, but he knows where the next one is. You saw him just jumping for it. He's got some sort of hacks to know where these weapon spawns are. Again, able to deny. Simple, he's just flailing around here. He's like, can I get a weapon spawn? I need an axe so desperately to get back into this game.
In his hands now. The downlight recovery canceled right on that platform.
No.
And the D-Sig big! Big opportunity here for Zyder, and he gets the knockout. I thought Simple might have had more in-air opportunities to get back. I thought he would have had to expend absolutely all of them to get back. It would have been a free edge guard from Zyder. But man, Zyder caught him like halfway to 2/3 of the way through his in-air movement opportunities. And Simple is done just like that. I love that D-Sig.
That D-Sig is so good. I know you talk about it every single time you see a Bodvar on the screen because it's such a strong edge guard tool. And now Simple, really far behind Zyder, has to find something back into this one, and you see him constantly trying to push forward instead of that kind of back poke playstyle that he had at the start of the last game. He's starting to push forward, and Zyder is just punishing him for constantly moving in.
Stop side air from Simple.
No weapon toss.
In-air movement opportunity from Zyder. Come on, man. You can't just ground pound run on top of a hammer. What are you doing?
It'll work. He won't
What are you doing?
it. Simple does find the recovery, but again, he's behind. He needs to find more damage here as Zyder completely controlling the corner, but he commits with the hammer ground pound, and Simple finds his footing on the ground.
Simple backing up over onto the wall, trying to create space. See, there you go again, throwing that weapon, picking up the sword. He didn't actually get a hit on it this time right after, but he tried to. That shows that the mindset is there. You get pressure with that weapon toss, pick up your new weapon, and continue based on that pressure you got from the throw.
Just the movement coming out from Zyder is impeccable. He finds the stomp, side air, goes for the weapon toss, just keeping pressure, like you were talking about, onto Simple. Simple, he backs up. He is going to pick up the hammer, but again, he needs more damage as Zyder finds the recovery. This is a huge lead for Zyder. Zyder could find himself in the top 3 of the low-tier city mid-season championship.
Don't play Thor anymore. Like, don't do it. This Bodvar is inspired. I love this Bodvar. It's fantastic. He looks so much more comfortable on this Bodvar than on the Thor pick. This is what he needs to be going into sets with, for sure.
It is just working so incredibly well. The ground pound connects. Simple barely has enough with the dodge up, but Zyder is still finding more damage. Simple is not finding a lot here. He does get a down air, but he can't even get a follow-up off of it as the down sig does it.
I love it. I'm telling you, that sig's so good. Use it all the time. It's so good.
And just like that, Zyder gonna find himself in the top 3 guaranteed winners final for Low Tier City, the mid-season championship.
That's huge. Let me look at, I need to look at the power ranking for him. Unfortunately, we don't have stats this week, which I'm very heartbroken over. I love those stats. I'm looking up his power ranking right now. It's ranking/power, Brawlhalla.com, EU, power 1v1.
I think that's out of date.
Where is... And so, yeah, it's definitely out of date. He's 10th, though. Holy cow, he's 10th. In Summer Championship, he did place 5th, so, like, that's really...